Where did you see that? Did I send it to the wrong person? Oh, we're live.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, I look fat from this angle. We're on. All right, give me a second, everybody. I've got to retweet this from the Tantra account. There you go. Hold everyone up.
Yeah, you guys do that. I'll go ahead and make a trip for the pod.
Let's do the pod.
So, hey guys, welcome back to Tantra Talks. We're here with Corey Clipston, founder and creator of Give Bitcoin, doing some really amazing stuff. Again, I started this out, I think the last podcast, it was just like, thank you. Like, seriously, thank you for doing, like, giving Bitcoiners the ability to evangelize, right? And ultimately to go out and spread the word in a way that keeps people from doing dumb things with their Bitcoin. So we'll start this off, and could you just kind of tell us a little bit about Give Bitcoin and, why did you build it? What is it?
Yeah, for sure. So awesome that you guys started this. Thanks for having us on. It's great. Really fun place to hang out. I hope we dip into the Satoshi whiskey a little bit later. I'm sorry, Suntory whiskey. Sorry.
Well, we'll be celebrating something, right? We've got something to drink too.
Yeah, we'll come to that a little bit later. All right. For sure. So, but yes, to Russell, your question. So I often talk about how someone gave me Bitcoin and tried to get me into Bitcoin in January of 2014. Would have been a really nice time to get into Bitcoin. I proceeded to not read the white paper, not go down the rabbit hole, and also lose the private key. So total failure. Then I finally did get into Bitcoin and really heavy into it starting in spring of 2017. And by that fall, as often happens if you get super into something, you want to start getting other people that you care about into it. And so I started trying to red pill my parents and spent the next 18 months and hundreds of hours, sharing articles and having phone conversations, primarily with my dad, but a little bit with my mom as well. And sending them books and all kinds of things. And it took until March of 2019, 18 months later, before my parents finally got off zero and bought some Bitcoin. And so that's kind of like the second leg of the stool. And the third one was I went full Bitcoin, forsaking all the others, starting in August of 18, basically been trying to figure out something to do in the Bitcoin space. I've traditionally been in more like Silicon Valley, VC, tech, angel investing, operating startups for the last 7 years or so. And so I was trying to figure out, is there some way to get really good at pitching Bitcoin? I was trying to evangelize, and I was kind of getting close to a lot of people that are really eloquent about talking about Bitcoin. And it's still just, even getting close to the people who are best in the world at it and watching them try to, sort of red pill somebody in 20 minutes or a half hour or 5 minutes or an elevator conversation, whatever it is, it's just not doable. The best thing you can do is start them on the path to discovering for themselves and actually deeply understanding, and that really takes self-study. So yeah, the final straw that broke the camel's back was I was up in SF throwing one of my usual happy hours. Got one that you guys are coming to after this in LA. And one of the better known Bitcoiners who does a lot of writing and a lot of speaking, I think has more arrows in his quiver than just about anybody. I asked him to pitch Bitcoin to one of my Silicon Valley CEO friends who wasn't into Bitcoin, and even he was unable really to get through, in that social setting at least. And so kind of those three things just kind of were germinating in my head, and it was literally the flight back to LA that night. I was a couple beers deep and had a whiskey on the plane, and it just came out kind of fully formed. It was give plus time lock plus educate equals Bitcoiner. I was like, well, I want to use this way that most people have sort of settled on is probably the best way to give somebody some skin in the game and get them interested, start looking at price action, which is give them some, but I don't want them to be able to sell it or trade it away, or lose it. So you want to time lock it so they can't touch it. And then you need to obviously educate them during the time lock so that they can actually become a Bitcoiner, and they can learn about how to be self-sovereign, they can learn about cold storage and private keys and safety and redundancy and all these different things. But you need to give them some time to do that. So that was the initial insight. And then, very quickly couldn't think about anything else, recruited a team, raised some money over the summer. Spent May, June kind of designing the product, and started the first line of code was July 1st. And now 4 months later, we are out in the world. Almost out in the world. We're in a private beta right now. At this time, a little bit before 4 o'clock on the 20th.
So could you explain when you say red pill? For those of us, for those that have not watched The Matrix?
Yeah, it's just a Matrix reference, and you can see it in my profile picture on Twitter. At least today you can. This is when Morpheus offered Neo, Keanu Reeves' character, either a red pill or a blue pill, and red pill is basically like you're gonna see the truth. Blue pill, you go back to your happy, fiat life.
Take the red pill and go down the rabbit hole.
That's it.
Just how far down it goes.
There you go. So you'll, if you get involved in Bitcoin a little bit, hang out on Twitter and the podcast, you'll just get lots and lots and lots of Matrix references. And I think some of the popular Bitcoiners are like, there's White Rabbit BTC, and obviously I call myself Bitcoin Morpheus on Twitter, which is super presumptuous, but like totally not at that level. But I think like with the power of tech and media and lots of other Bitcoiners using the utility that we've now created, sure, I aspire to that handle.
Yeah,
so it's aspirational.
Yeah, good.
For those tuning in, part of why he has his handle set thusly is because Corey is on a mission of epic proportions. I'm wishing him luck. We're doing what we can to help. He is trying to literally be Bitcoin Morpheus and Red Pill Keanu Reeves. So can I ask how that's going? Any updates?
Oh man, I wish I had. Well, it's a great story regardless. I actually had another actually more effective one with another celebrity this week. But yes, basically the story is I was randomly out at the Coffee Bean by Cross Creek in Malibu doing some work, and I was on some calls, and I saw these like incredibly charismatic, totally outfitted motorcyclists pull in to get their coffee and have a cigarette. And after thinking about it for a minute, I was like, well, one of them is probably going to be Keanu Reeves, right? I looked at it and I was like, I don't like to harass celebrities. Like I live in LA, like you see them all the time. You don't want to be a dick. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. Like he needs to know how important he is to Bitcoin. Like what if he doesn't know? Like he's known to be kind of reclusive and doesn't hang out online, doesn't go out that much. Like maybe he doesn't actually know how important he is to all of us, magic internet money nerds. Like someone should tell him. Who should tell him? Oh shit, I have to get the stones up to go and talk to him about Bitcoin. And so I did, and I went over and he had his two buddies with him, which made it a little less awkward. And basically I just was like, you ever heard of Bitcoin? He's like, yeah, sure, I've heard of it. And I was like, well, it's really important to me and millions of other people. And for a large number of us, like the Matrix and your character in the Matrix is like, probably the #1 cultural touchstone for Bitcoin. He was like, really? And
that was a good impression. That wasn't too bad.
That was pretty good, really. Yeah. And luckily, so it turns out they were his motorcycles. He has a motorcycle company, which is super dope. And his partner, Guard, was also one of the two guys that was with him. And it was great because Guard is like kind of a skeptic. And so he started peppering me with like questions about Bitcoin and how it might be scammy and why would it be that one and not another one? And so I got to have this whole like dialogue in front of Keanu with his buddy about Bitcoin. So it was like kind of the perfect situation. So by the end of it, he was like, sure, I'll give you my real email address. And, I said, I'll send you, a podcast episode and one article. And so I've been, so the email doesn't bounce. It's his email.
And what is that email?
I'm not going to tell you. I promised that I would keep it to myself. But I've been drip marketing him like every 2 weeks or so with like one other little snippet and just trying to get him there.
Cool.
Yeah, and then now that the product is live, the next thing I'm going to do is actually just send them Bitcoin. Because if you have someone's email address, you can send them Bitcoin. So,
Yeah.
So we'll see. You are outside. Oh, well, I guess it's probably time then. It sounds like we need to break out the whiskey because officially, you go ahead and announce it. That's fine.
Give Bitcoin is officially live right now.
Right now.
Go to the URL, givebitcoin.io.
There we go. All right. Let's at least clink some glasses here.
We were just informed by Santa's little helper. Brian of Get
Yeah.
Bitcoin fame.
There you go. Brian, where's
We
your
are
glass?
live.
You're off camera. Probably need to get Steven in here too, if he's available.
We're drinking some gin whiskey.
Sorry, it's number 21 of 21. It's a limited edition at the Bevmo down the street. Cheers, Brian. Nice.
To giving Bitcoin.
That's good.
To giving freedom.
Good. That is exciting, man. This has been,
Nice.
that's crazy. So it's November 20th. We were thinking about holding it till tomorrow, we just couldn't wait. Yeah, it's exciting.
And so, what can you walk us through? Like I want to give my mom some Bitcoin. I gave her $100 on Coinbase, but I'm not sure if she's already sold it. So, how would I give her Bitcoin to your platform?
Should we just give her some?
I mean,
We might as well, right?
Let's
Yeah.
give her some Bitcoin.
Let's give her some Bitcoin.
I'm down.
We'll fund your mom through the corporate account here. So
Oh well, thank you.
yeah, let's do
You
it.
hear that, folks? Bring Corey on your podcast.
And we'll
You
give
send your
Bitcoin to your
mom.
mom. Exactly. So givebitcoin.io. There it is. And so I'm already logged in, which is super easy. So it already has my bank account information. We're actually adding credit cards next week. So
Is
we'll
that
be able to do
to like play?
Plaid? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Plaid is actually going live by the end of the month. So you'll actually be able to log into your own bank account. Right now, just the first couple of weeks, it's bank account and routing number.
Awesome.
So-
And how long does it take? Like, let's say I did want to. Well, first, let's see. I have
So let's
multiple
do it.
options. Right?
So I just was on the homepage. I hit give Bitcoin. You can also request Bitcoin. So if you're like a Gen Z kid that loves Bitcoin, wants to own a lot, don't have a lot of money, you're in college, you're in high school, you got a bar mitzvah coming up, you can request Bitcoin and send it to anyone that you think should be giving you Bitcoin as a gift.
Awesome.
We actually think that'll end up being like 10 times the volume.
Bitcoin for Christmas sounds good to
That's
me.
right. That's right. So give Bitcoin. Who do I want to give it to? I just pop in her email. So you want to just type her email address.
I want to
Go
bounce
for it.
my phone there.
Don't do that. You can do her first and last, and we'll give her a. No, I think 21 is a good starting gift.
21 Bitcoin, Corey.
I wish.
Wow.
So actually, important point. So we do not. We want all Bitcoiners to hodl their Bitcoin. So we do not allow you to give your own Bitcoin. All you can do is purchase Bitcoin for someone else, as we say, liquidate dirty fiat for beautiful orange coin.
Beautiful.
I love it.
That was actually going to be my next question. Will I have to give up my own coins, or should I be buying through your app? And then, what are your fees through your app?
Yeah, so I should just point out it's a website, so it's like a web app, so it's super easy. You don't need to download an app or anything. And then let's see here, just logging in. Okay, cool. And that's it, done. So she'll get an email out in a minute or two that says that she.
And should I tell my mom, like, hey, that Bitcoin gift isn't an Arabian scammer, or is it?
Yeah, you'll do stuff like that.
I'm going to text her right now.
Tell her to expect that gift. We do a pretty good job of making it look very official, and it has your name in the subject line. It says Russell. Whatever. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Russ, I think maybe if she calls you in the next 30 minutes asking, we have to bring her on the pod.
Absolutely. I'll put it on speaker.
Exactly. We have to put her on the speaker. And Corey, I wanted to ask you something else.
Oh, but you were asking about fees. So
Yes, fees.
2%. 2% includes transaction, time lock, custody for between 1 and 5 years. That's the shortest time lock is 1 year, longest time lock is 5 years, and the education, which I'm sure we'll get into in a second.
Which is invaluable, folks.
That's right. It's priceless. And then it's a $2 minimum. So if you're giving a gift less than $100, $2.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first. Spam all your friends with Bitcoin. Send them $2 of Bitcoin. I'm going to be doing that.
Minimum gift is $10.
That's
Maximum is 5,000.
Amazing. But I can send multiple 5,000.
Sure, as many as you want. You can also set it recurring. So if you have like a niece that might be like 5 and you want to set it recurring, don't cost to average your niece and build her up a fat stack, $100 a month forever. Like, sure, you can set that up.
And you can get yourself also.
You can buy for yourself, yeah. Yeah, and right now it's just so you can do recurring DCA through us, just like you could like Amber in Australia or Bitter in Europe. We allow that, and you can use it all day. You can time lock it. we have people that have already purchased for themselves in the beta, and they use hashtag proof of hodl because they can prove that they're hodling because it's time locked. So we had some people buy it in the beta last week and lock it up for 5 years.
Cool.
We actually already had one uncle give a niece and a nephew, I don't know why, but $4,500 each last Thursday in the beta. So that was pretty cool.
Wasn't my uncle, but nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy.
And so I have two things. One, so you're cheaper than Coinbase on fees.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. I mean, if you buy on, okay, maybe. It's not really the point because we're not trying to compete with exchanges. You know, our first of all, copped the whiskey idea from the Tales from the Crypt guys. So shout out to Matt and Marty.
Yeah.
Always the Brooklyn boys, Brooklyn, North Carolina, and you know they have a nice line where they basically say that it's, you know, and again quoting, but like it's not the best way to introduce someone to Bitcoin, which is more about being a savings technology, to introduce it to them in an exchange interface. So yeah, I think this just plays it right down the middle with what Bitcoin is actually for, and it's like a really good way to introduce somebody you actually care about to Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
Coinbase is the reason why I traded away some of my precious assets. You know? Anyway,
yeah. I mean, listen,
to an anti-Coinbase podcast.
Sure. We're not really anti anybody that
so.
brings Bitcoiners into the space.
Okay. No, we've been toxic on everyone.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, where did you buy your first Bitcoin? I bought it through Coinbase, and I'm glad it wasn't Mt. Gox, you know? So, like, we're early, we're trying not to be too cocky. Like, at this point, you know, Brian Armstrong and Barry Silver have done way more for Bitcoin than I have and than we have, and we're just getting started, and we're going to try to do what we do and stay really focused on giving and requesting Bitcoin as presence.
And so right now you guys are custodial. So
yeah.
How do you plan?
I don't know if it's like right now. I mean, it may always be that way, at least for this core gift, because you literally cannot achieve what we do with the product without a custodian.
Right.
So it was a very conscious choice. You know, I absolutely love Open Dime. I think, you know, paper wallets have their place. Like, there's a lot of other ways to give Bitcoin, and if you have, you know, the recipient where those make sense, totally makes sense. If I'm going to get if I'm going to red pill my brother-in-law out in Boston, this is my wife's brother, super techie, totally gets hardware, gets software. Like, he should just straight up start with a node. Like, why wouldn't he? Of course, that's where he would be interested in Bitcoin in that way. So I might give him like a Casa or something like that. You know, so this is for, you know, definitely for the mass market, or just for people that like we really value the education that we are giving to them.
And so when, like, let's say you're custodying it for me, how do you guys do that as far as security is concerned? Do you have a team, or you?
Yeah, so we don't actually custody it, which is great. So Prime Trust, which is a regulated and insured trust company out of Nevada, very well known in the space. They're also the custodian for all of the U.S. customers of Binance, Bittrex, Wobi, OKX, a lot of the OTC desks, a lot of the crypto funds, a lot of the projects. They also, the founder of that, Scott Purcell, has a long history of doing this in the crowdfunding space. His previous company that this kind of turned into did over 50% of the custody of customer funds for the crowdfunding space ever since the Jobs Act. So, you know, very solid crew, incredible to work with. Shout out to Kinsey Cronin, their BD person. I'm a sucker for good BD people that kind of go to work for you.
Yeah.
She's just been awesome helping us get going. And then also shout out to my neighbor down the street who's on their board, Joy Law, who very much helped smooth this out and explain to me why working with them would be easy, and it has been. So very happy with them. They use Fireblocks in the back end, which is what a lot of it's like a very sort of secure multi-cloud setup for the custody of the Bitcoin. It was also super important to us to have user segregated accounts so that it's not an omnibus account. So it goes into your account that only you can access as the recipient of the Bitcoin. It's essentially your Bitcoin bank account or your Bitcoin custody account. And you basically have view access during the time lock and then full access when the time lock is over. So people ask, like, why did we want to use a custodian? So one was, there are going to be many cases where someone hasn't gone through the education and hasn't gone down the rabbit hole to the point where they're capable of, you know, self-custodying at the end of their time lock, or they're too young or too old or whatever it is. And so we obviously spend, really probably like half of the education teaching people about self-sovereignty, about cold storage, about nodes. We're gonna have interviews with all the, the founders of those companies and the people that really know how to set those things up and like really train people well. But not everybody's gonna do that. And we don't think that they should have to just to own Bitcoin. It's some people want to be self-sovereign and some people are gonna, the risk of them losing their Bitcoin is a lot higher than the risk of their custodian losing their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's also better to learn why self-sovereignty is important before becoming self-sovereign, I think. When you do it because you're told to do it, it doesn't make sense, or you end up not caring. And when you do care, that's when you custody your own Bitcoin and just things kind of come together a lot better than they would otherwise.
Right. So where do you stand? And it sounds like you're right in the middle on that spectrum of like, it ultimately is the user's choice of like, I understand the self-sovereignty is like ultimately the entire purpose and goal of Bitcoin, but there will always be people that are willing to offload that job and duty to a third party, and essentially enabling that and not allowing those people that don't want to be self-sovereign today is what you're onboarding. You're essentially onboarding those people that are unwilling to do this kind of grunt work that we're doing for them of like, hey, this is a legitimate technology in a project. And, when they figure it out 4 years later, like all of us have, then, hopefully they want to be self-sovereign. But forcing it on them from the get-go is just not idealistic to get them in today, which is when it's important.
Also, to pull on like the heartstrings a little bit, like I want my friends and family to have Bitcoin. Like I tell them about Bitcoin because I think there's a huge opportunity here, as I think we all believe, and I don't want them to miss out on it. And if I wait around for them to realize the importance of self-sovereignty and all the things that we're fighting for, well then, maybe then they will have missed the boat. And so that's why something like Give Bitcoin is great, because I can give them Bitcoin and they don't have to think about those things yet. They don't want to.
It's going to be pretty important, I think, to give your friends and family some $8,000 Bitcoin this Christmas.
Yeah.
And not be giving it to them 2 years from now when it's six figures.
Well, shout out to Will Reeves, because I don't know if you know the founder of Fold or CEO of Fold.
I don't know Will, but I'm a huge fan. Fold is awesome.
He's incredible. I feel bad. I'm going back to my word because last podcast I was like, I'm giving everybody Starbucks gift cards this Christmas because I'm going to get 10% sats back. But now I have to just give them. I have to give them actual Bitcoin because Starbucks is great, but it's fiat.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do a Fold Bitcoin gift card to give Bitcoin. That would be great. Will, hit me up on Twitter, man. Let's chat it out.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'll
some really good whiskey, by the way. I could see how Marty occasionally gets sloppy on the pod.
What are you doing over there?
I wasn't closing it up, that's for sure. I wasn't sealing it anyway.
So now that the whiskey's flowing a little bit, I'm gonna ask tough questions. People are afraid to ask.
Can I actually finish? Because you were just talking about.
See, he doesn't want to answer the question.
I want the hard questions,
All right,
but I think there was one more really important reason, I think, to use the custodian, and it's because we do what we call double opt-in gifting. And basically what this means is you can give Bitcoin willy-nilly to whoever the heck you want, knowing that only if they actually sign up for an account and accept your gift does the transaction go through. So I can go to like CES or some normie conference and I can give away like 100 gifts of like $10 Bitcoin. And only the 20 people that actually are signing up for mandatory account statement plus another chapter of the Give Bitcoin Guide to Bitcoin over the next 12 months am I going to be charged that $10.
Amazing.
So I think it is a really important aspect of this product for those people that really want to get out and evangelize a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
So are we giving Bitcoin to Brad Sherman, or are we not giving Bitcoin?
So we talked about this, and please jump in if you want to help with this. We have been talking about doing a Bitcoin 2020 campaign where we go state by state for 50 weeks leading into the election and essentially marshal the resources of people in those jurisdictions to give. You can give up to $49 of Bitcoin to your rep, but we need to crowdsource the actual email addresses of the people, or we can actually do it with a card and physically send it to them. But I feel like that would not be quite as cool because you can't necessarily guarantee that they're going to look at it, or I guess they have to still sign up with their email address, so they'll still get the education. But anyway, we got to think that through and get that program going. But you know, we'd like to get that rolling and go state by state for 50 weeks and yeah, red pill all the senators and Congress people. We love what the Bitcoin rabbi did, getting a copy of Bitcoin Money in all their hands. I bought one of those books for somebody. So I think that's a great idea. I don't know if Brad is gonna flip. Maybe not this year,
He
but
just doesn't deserve Bitcoin. Do you think he'll ever flip?
well, I think we all will. And this is actually an interesting point we can get into.
Hold
So
on, guys.
eventually,
On this calling.
oh, she is.
I knew this would happen.
There you go.
I'm so excited.
Hang on.
That is so cool.
That is so cool.
So
Now, is that your website or something?
no, I'm sitting right here with the founder and CEO of Give Bitcoin. His name's Corey. He sent it to you. He wanted to turn you into a Bitcoiner.
Hi, Russell's mom.
Well, hello, Corey. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you for doing such a nice job raising your wonderful son. And we're glad to do what we can to help you understand Bitcoin and everything that your son is so interested in.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad you have gotten to know him. He is one in a million.
1 in 21 million.
There you go.
I can go with that too.
Thank you, Mom. And thank you for calling. And I hope you don't spend your. How long do you time lock it?
I did a year.
All right. So,
Yeah, so you
in
can't
a,
sell it for a year at least.
so in a year, you'll be able to access that if you want to use it. But you know, hopefully, you hold it forever.
Yes, well, I love it. I love it. I have to show it to everybody.
Well, good. Let me know who wants some, and then I'll be sending it to them too.
Okay, I certainly will.
All right. Thank you,
Well,
Mom.
I love you. Have a wonderful night.
I love you too.
Let's hear it for Russell's mom. That was great. All right.
That couldn't have gone any better. That was
That's
perfect.
pretty good.
Folks, we did not plan that, I promise. It was, it couldn't have gone better if we did.
No,
Your mom's awesome.
She's the best.
that's some real VO talent right there.
Yeah.
It sounded totally real. No, I'm just kidding.
Russell, I love you very much. And
That was Bracky. Oh my God.
I was throwing my voice. I'm very talented.
Yeah, good job.
My southern mother.
That's great. Man. Cool.
Cool. So where were we?
We're talking about custody. I was going to ask a very, very difficult question.
Oh,
Good.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's very difficult. Why is it only give Bitcoin? Why isn't it give Monero, give Ethereum, give Ripple? You know that I know the answer to this, but just in case the folks at home, are curious. We had some folks trying to
Well, I mean,
come up to us at CIS.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Why isn't it more than that?" And we were
Yeah.
like,
no, I we're like fundraising right now, and OVC wrote me back and said, "Start give crypto," and I was like, "Well, most people that give gifts actually like the people that they give." I like my friends. Like I want them to do the right thing. No, I mean, listen. Somebody's welcome to go start give whatever. That's fine. It's all good. I'm sure they'll copy our code and we'll probably be like give Tron out of China within a week or two. Like that's fine. Have at it. I'm pretty sure that our givers and receivers are going to be way happier in 5 years than anybody else. So we're just sticking to the one that actually works as intended, and money trends toward one, network protocols trend toward one. I think you guys obviously know Nick Bhatia really well. That's kind of how I am seeing things shape up over time, is probably fairly squarely the way that he sees it, where I don't think that the dollar is going anywhere anytime soon, nor U.S. Treasuries, not while we have this economy and the military strength and just kind of like entrepreneurial way of approaching business that the U.S. has. So I see gold existing for a long time. It's been around 5,000 years as a money. It's not going anywhere. It's probably going to gain in strength. So I think Bitcoin will take its rightful place. The one thing that I think will happen is I actually do think that Bitcoin will be the global unit of account within 12 to 15 years, where everyone will be able to actually price in Bitcoin. Like even if rubles are still around, or dong or yen or whatever, like I actually think that we'll all kind of know what things should cost for goods and services in Bitcoin kind of globally within a decade and a half.
Amazing. That's very bullish.
Yeah, as a use of a money, yeah. I mean, so it does, to be the unit of account, it actually doesn't need to supersede even, you know, M1 or M2 money supply. It just needs to be the one that everybody kind of understands. You know, people had their local currencies during the Belle Epoque from like 1870 to 1913, but everybody globally was kind of on the gold standard, and everybody knew what things should cost in gold. And so they always do like gold in their local currency. And I think it's going to be like that for a while, very soon. So, you know, I'd say like, you know, 2035 through 2100, you know, other fiat currencies may still exist, and who knows what will be out there. But I think everybody's going to also be able to price things in Bitcoin.
I'm very excited for the day when I can go buy like food for 1,000 sats. Right? Just go, hey, here's 1,000 sats. Thanks for the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Russ, you did that this morning with the Fold app at Starbucks. Don't get out of here.
We gotta stop.
Some of us are still living
The
in.
Fold CEO is no longer on the pod. We don't have to show it anymore.
I know, you should shill everything that you like
No,
all the time.
I'm kidding. Because yeah, absolutely. It's. I did do that this morning.
I mean, I will show, like, we could just stop this right now and just talk about BTC Pay Server for the rest of the show. If you want. I mean, I just, like,
Shout out to Rockstar Dev. You're one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth.
man, yeah, such a cool crew. Honestly, just amazing what they're doing. I hope that we succeed so that we can actually, like, partially fund one of their devs. Like, that's when I know we'll have succeeded, is when we're like, yeah, sure. We'll just, like, send some money to BTC Pay Server.
You know what's funny? So I was having lunch with somebody in the office earlier, and we were talking about like Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and you know some of the pain points in Bitcoin. One of which being what he brought up was, you know, who's going to keep funding? Like, what's going to happen when some of these core devs like disappear, or like how are we going to keep people interested in developing on Bitcoin? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's the most interesting thing in the world. People just want to keep developing on it. But when hearing you say what you just said, kind of hammers home the point that I was trying to make to him, that like the cypherpunk sort of ideals that drove Bitcoin in the beginning are still around, and even if things appear more corporate or more financialized, like people really want to support Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, like the hardcore Bitcoiners, it doesn't matter if they're running a company. Like you're running a company that is not only it's pushing adoption, spreading Bitcoin, it's doing a lot of amazing things, but like you want to support Bitcoin. And so, like, as long as there are people like you, Jack and Square, like, Bitcoin will succeed. You
don't need that many people to work on the protocol, like on layer one. You know, it's ossifying over time, and it really shouldn't have any major changes from now on. And just get less and less over time, because you're gonna, just like internet protocol layer one, basically. Fairly frozen, because you have all these other layer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things on top of it, where you don't want to have to change all those things. So the only thing that people can agree on is keeping it the same. And that's how it's going to become very, very quickly with layer 2, 3, 4 technologies on top of Bitcoin. Like, no one is going to want to change layer one.
It's more exciting to work. I mean, like, layer one is exciting. Like, Bitcoin itself is exciting. But like the things that are going on now at Lightning, like you talk to people working on Lightning, and their minds are blown. They're just like things that they can do, and the new things they can come up with, whether it's in gaming and all these different like applications. Like, I don't think we're gonna have trouble keeping people interested in developing on top of it.
Wow, man! Like laps are where it's at. Lightning apps. Laps, not dapps.
Russ, do you like laps? Do you like that term?
Laps.
Are people that are like working really hard on laps, are they lap dogs?
They're swimming laps.
Lap stars?
Lap stars
is good.
Yeah, that'd be a great podcast title.
If you celebrate, the launch of a lap, what would you call that?
Are you asking us? Or you have an answer?
No, I'm asking.
The launch of a lap.
Yeah, like what would you do to celebrate?
You like won the race.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're swimming laps around all your
I
competition.
shouldn't do a dance, but it's all right.
Launch of a lap.
Anyway, so nobody got to the punchline there. That's dad joke. It's supposed to be a lap dance, but that's okay.
Oh, lap dance.
Lap dance.
Oh man,
Whenever you launch a lap.
you gave us a layup too, and I didn't.
Yeah, it clearly wasn't set up well enough.
Lap dance. That's
Thank you for being so hard.
You're welcome.
we should do like a new lap, like game on Lightning.
Yeah.
That's like Dance Dance Revolution, but
Yes.
it's called Lap Dance instead. Huh?
Yeah.
Eh?
I like it.
All right, like, you heard it here first, folks.
These are the guys with their office down the block from Silver Rain here in West LA.
Not even down the block; it's across the street. Like you just walk outside and you're right there.
The craziest thing about that so it's a strip club across the street, and there's this like little portico on the side of it that looks like it's part of the strip club, but it's not. And there's this little hallway underneath it. And every day at 3:00, we're like sitting over there getting a coffee. All the kids from the school across the street come out under this portico, and it looks like they're coming out of the strip club. And I die laughing every single time. They really need to fix this.
That's what happened. That was
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
I was sitting with you in this at this restaurant, and we see all these like teenagers walking out from under a strip club sign because they have their sign over the walkway.
In uniform.
It's ridiculous. It's so funny. Anyway, totally wrong.
Kids these days, huh?
Listen, nobody said that everything is figured out in LA. This is a new city.
Yeah, right.
Bitcoin fixes it.
Definitely fixes this. So can we tease something coming out? We're building it right now, so as soon as we can have it done, we're going to be very excited to launch this. But okay, so we are going to be rolling out like a totally bananas referral program. We're going to share up to 50% of our transaction fees with people that refer to us
For life.
in perpetuity to the people that you refer to the program.
Oh, baby.
I don't know what perpetuity means, but I hope it means forever.
That's why he just got my mom. He was like, this girl's gonna give Bitcoin.
You know,
He knew.
Yeah, so she spreads it around to all
Got
her
the South
friends.
Florida circuit.
Yeah, she spread it around to all her friends. So basically, it's 3 levels. So the people that transact on the platform that you've referred, you get 40% of the fees. People that they refer, you still get 8%, and the people that they refer, so like 3 levels down, you still get 2%. So we're giving them like 50%. And we are pretty optimistic that this is like maybe the dopest way ever to stack sats, because you just go and talk about Bitcoin with everybody. We're going to be working with a bunch of the meetups around the country and around the world, like Blockchain Education Network, that group of like 450 campuses that Jeremy Gardner and crew started that used to be Bitcoin only, and hopefully will be very heavily Bitcoin again one day soon, as soon as they can start stacking sats through us. So we think that'll be a really fun way to do it. YouTubers can use it. Got 1 million followers on YouTube, and you want to throw the link on there and talk about Bitcoin for an episode, and open up your account with us and start stacking sats through your referral code. So I think that'll be pretty interesting.
So out of that 2% fee, you're basically giving away half of it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
It should be like give altruism instead of give Bitcoin.
I don't know. I mean, we still get to keep 1%.
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think but a lot of people will be buying for themselves as well. So you can give, you can request, and you can stack through us as well. And you can set up that DCA program through us. And we think a lot of people will do that over time. Because we have a relationship and we're trusted and we have good education and the whole deal. And, so I think it'll be interesting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited. Now I'm like, I'm going to go tell my mom to like cancel that little email you sent her, and I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the funny things is I think we'll see a bit of a race between people that are like in the same social network, because the delta between like first level and second is so big.
Yeah.
So like if it's like Johnny and Steve in the same frat, like they're gonna rush to get everyone they know in their first level.
Oh man,
to get that 40%.
You could do so I wasn't a frat. Imagine if I had like people pledging the fraternity.
You got to sign up.
You got to give them tasks like, hey man, you want to be in this fraternity? You have to go sign up 100 people with my ref link and for get Bitcoin. I would have stacked so many sats.
Let's just make sure that all the kids in college actually do this.
Yeah.
That's what they should do.
Well, they'll get thrown off campus, not for force feeding goldfish down people's throats, but for giving away Bitcoin.
Yeah. It's like, listen, I was just trying to, ensure the financial future of all these wonderful young freshmen.
Yeah.
And make sure that they understood the power of low time preference and, decentralization, et cetera, et cetera.
This is going to pay off their student loans in 4 years. I'm helping them.
Yeah. What's your timeline on this feature?
I don't know. We're just waiting. Andrew, if you're watching this, how long till it's live? I don't know.
Soon.
It shouldn't be that long. It's actually not all that hard. I would say we'll with the holidays coming up, we'll probably actually launch that in January. We're trying to figure out a way to actually, even before it's built, to at least track everybody now,
Right.
and then just kind of like do a one-time data dump over and credit everybody. But we'll have more communications out on that as soon as they firm up.
Amazing.
We're psyched for that.
Yeah.
We're also coming out with codes so that you can do it without an email address. So you can just send somebody a code, and that code is good for like 1 redemption or 100 redemptions of a certain denomination. So that lets Brecky go to like an art show and just have like a code or a QR code or even physical gift cards that have a code on it or something like that, and just give those willy-nilly to whoever he wants to.
Really like that. You could even put that on like business cards, and like if you're doing it for a low amount, then half the time people throw away their business cards, but you throw it on there, and every business card has a little Bitcoin to give away.
Yeah, and you can basically like you'd be able to throttle that, right? So you could preload the code with $200, and it would always be good for $10. And so you give away like 500 business cards, and on the 400th, the 20th person redeems.
Yeah,
exactly. And then the code is out. And it's like, well, you didn't move fast enough. Sorry, bro.
I love that.
Email me to ask why the Bitcoin didn't happen, and now you're in a conversation.
Amazing. And so, what other features are you planning on rolling out?
Hold on, can we just like log the business card idea? Like,
we're here for eternity.
We're here. Yeah, I know, but like, that's a good one. I really like
Here's
that.
the sad fact, folks, is since I'm disclosure and advisor to Give Bitcoin, they get all my ideas for free. I get nothing for it. No, I guess.
Well, we're gonna try to moon the equity of this company too. So hopefully those advisory shares end up worth a lot someday.
Well, he says nothing, but you get 50% of the transaction fee. So everybody gets to
That's
be part
true.
of this company.
I do. What do you mean?
Yeah. Anybody that signs up for you.
Oh, just by giving. Oh yeah, 100%, for sure.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, I think I don't. Becky, you and I were laughing about this when we both found that app where we were like touching pictures that had stoplights in it to earn like 50 sats. And stuff like that.
That's
like,
great.
People will do crazy shit to earn sats because it just like, I don't know about where it is in your mental accounting, but like my own paltry stack of Bitcoin, like in my head, I always think of it worth like at least 10x what it is in dollars, because I'm just like, so when I do my family planning and I think about like, I just kind of assume that like whatever I have in Bitcoin is worth like 10 times more than that.
Right.
And that seems to be about the number. Like I can ask like hedge fund managers that, I can ask VCs that, I can ask, taco clubs that, and everybody kind of has that sort of like, 10x multiplier.
You're kind of pricing them like people price stocks today. Like they're pricing you 10 years from now, and that's kind of what you're doing with your Bitcoin.
I guess. Yeah, sure. But, the multiplier is a lot more.
Yeah.
And so, we are very much like gamifying stacking sats by recruiting new Bitcoiners. And I think the numbers can get like really impactful. There's a number out there from one of the, well, it's private, so I can't say who put it out, but it's one of the top sort of Bitcoin focused funds that's been in the space since 2012. And they've done some really hardcore analysis and basically figured out that about 7 million people globally own $100 or more of Bitcoin. It's a very, very small number. It's like, you get $100 of Bitcoin, you're in the 0.1%. That's insane. Like our goal as a company is to get $100 or more of Bitcoin in the hands of 21 million people. So we want to 4x that number, like just with this company. And we think it's like actually doable. Like I think there's enough virality in the product and giving and receiving and requesting and the referrals. Like I think there's enough to actually make that happen.
I agree.
I sure hope so.
I'm pretty sure Russell's mom can make that happen by herself.
She does know a lot of Southern ladies.
There you go. Christmas is coming up, so
There you go.
we're gonna have to up that number for you.
It's great for Hanukkah and Bar Mitzvahs too, and all sorts of other holidays. Hey, Bitcoin for Diwali.
Bitcoin for Diwali. There you go.
We missed it this year, but we'll be out in full force next year.
Well, you could do Mashi Varatri too. So it's in February.
Okay. Great. Chinese New Year
Yeah,
is coming up.
all of them.
Ooh, little red envelopes. I like that.
There you go.
Orange envelopes. We'll do orange envelopes.
We do like orange, pretty much everything.
So give me some more features, and then we're gonna play a game called Bitcoin or Shitcoin.
Okay. So let's see, more features.
Like what else are you coming out with?
Well, let's talk about the education a little bit, because that's something we didn't hit hard. So we decided to, basically equity fund the education by getting a lot of the top Bitcoiners in the world involved in this. So our advisors, and some of these are also investors, are people like Jan Pritzker, who wrote Inventing Bitcoin, Stefan Livera from the Stefan Livera podcast, our whiskey homeboy, Matt Odell, Tales from the Crypt, really, gonna put a lot of effort into making sure we talk about, security and privacy in the right ways. Big time privacy advocate. Safety and Moose, author of the Bitcoin Standard, Michael Harris, the Bitcoin Rabbi. So just a lot of really strong voices and thinkers in the Bitcoin space. And then a lot of people that are actually really good at thinking about how to educate normies about Bitcoin that have been doing that for a long time. So like Tom Lee from Fundstrat, Melton Demirors from CoinShares.
These are all advisors to give Bitcoin.
Advisors and investors, yeah. Some of those are investors as well. Or both in a couple cases. And then we have a guy named Matt Ruby, who's just been an incredible tech educator for the last 17 years, who's responsible for writing and editing the guide to Bitcoin. And he wrote the 37 Signals blog for the first 8 years that existed, which is called Signal versus Noise. It's kind of like it was out at the vanguard of using sort of content education as marketing. Like they never spent $1. These are the guys that created Basecamp. Dave, one of the founders, created Ruby on Rails, which a lot of coders know that very well. And Matt Ghost wrote Rework for them, which is a New York Times bestseller. So like he's really, really good at pulling stuff together and making it understandable. And it's been fun to kind of watch him on his own journey. He's like red pilled himself because he's had to write this, which is great.
He started off as like a new coiner or no coiner or what?
I mean, similar. Like I started getting him into. He was one of those people that I cared about, so I started trying to get him into Bitcoin in like Q4 of 17, and been pulling him in little by little. And he owns some Bitcoin, which is great, and he's gonna own a lot more way into this.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're paying a lot of attention to that education piece, and obviously thanks Brecky for all the great advice and ideas all the time. And, so we're doing at launch. There's a text version and audio version. So we're having Guy Swan from Cryptoconomy, kind of the voice of Bitcoin, is reading out the answers. It's in a Q&A format, like a new coiner asking questions of a Bitcoiner. So I think that'll be pretty cool. And we're going to try to do a lot of sort of sidebar pulling in the right external resources for a given topic. So linking to specific podcast episodes on a certain topic, or showing explainer videos from people like Delphi Digital or whatever, like that hit a topic really well. Art pieces that you advise us toward including, we'll have them linked there. Yeah, stuff like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so part of this education platform, I think you had mentioned earlier, is like when I give someone Bitcoin, they actually have to watch some of these videos to receive it, or
they don't have to. Yeah, so it's
Can we change
voluntary.
Can you change that?
So yeah, so what we can do, and I think again this is leveraging what a giver actually knows about their receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we'll probably end up doing when we have the time is you can allot some amount of Bitcoin that is earned. So if you have somebody like, I don't want them to have all the Bitcoin unless they actually go through some hoops.
Yeah.
We should give that option to the giver.
I love that.
So you could basically say like, hey, 20% of this, you've got to complete these exercises, and you've got to like send me a transaction. I got to send it back. So we'll kind of build that stuff in over time. But we're pretty lean. We're a very small team right now, and just kind of want to get the utility out there and listen to everybody and let them tell us, what they want. So it was the crowd that yelled at us and told us like, we can't find a check. Like, can you just like let me log into my bank? And so that's why we're integrating Plaid. And we initially didn't want to launch with credit and debit because the fees, there's additional fees for credit and debit, obviously. And so we didn't want to launch with that. But now, even in the beta, everybody's like, I don't care about the fees. Like, I just want to be able to pay with my credit card because it's easy and it's on hand and it's already in my browser and it's only $20 anyway. For that I'm paying. So who cares about the fees? So we're adding that back in, and we'll have credit and debit by the end of the month as well.
So I've got another tough question for you. I know there's this the idea that you don't want Bitcoiners to spend their Bitcoin, and I'm fully in support of that. Excuse me, but I think there are some new things coming out that might, maybe make you change your mind a little bit. Like for instance,
it's not a
set in stone rule.
Well, it's not a rule. It's just like strongly consider whether you should be spending your Bitcoin.
100%. But like, so I hate to bring up Fold one more time, but I just started using SparkSwap so that I can get the higher sats back percentage on Fold. So if you did it only with Lightning, then maybe it could work, because then the understanding would be that that person likely bought the Bitcoin immediately using a credit card or something else, only just so that they could then spend it with you guys.
Yeah.
And like, I'm with you. Like, I don't want people to spend their Bitcoin, but like if they're getting rid of their fiat and saving everyone fees with Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, I think this is why talking about it is great. Like, you just gave me an idea. Like, maybe we don't even have to like build that ourselves. Maybe we can just partner with somebody. Sure. And, in module 7, where you finally get into like how to think about UTXOs and all that kind of stuff, then you just kind of have like, maybe you cue the giver and you say, hey, they're about to hit module 7, or less than 7 or whatever. Do you want to, throw them an extra $5? Mm-hmm. Here's an exercise. Do you want to do that? Just like make it optional.
Yeah, we can show you. SparkSwap's pretty dope. You hook up that, and you can send money to it and then buy on the Lightning Network. Mm-hmm. So if you guys start offering Lightning invoices to actually send Bitcoin, it's an easy way to go straight.
It sounds a lot like Olympus.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Escher's another one coming out. Again, I think something I hope people take away from listening to all the podcasts that we've done so far is all of these technologies are just getting easier and easier to onboard fiat into Bitcoin and like essentially give Bitcoin and fold, and all of these things will usher in this next bull run. Yeah, like you're really just incentivizing and allowing people to use and spend and buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, I got to go deeper on what exactly Bottle just put out, but I think they basically put out, essentially the equivalent of like a Lightning API that just like makes it super easy for anybody to integrate Lightning payments into any app, any website. I just heard about this. It's crazy simple. Yeah, you posted it in the Telegram group like yesterday, and I haven't read into it other than the first page, but it sounds awesome.
Amazing. So I think this is a perfect time to parlay into Bitcoin or shitcoin.
All right.
So the way that this game works is we're going to name features, and you're going to tell us if that feature aligns with like the Bitcoin type of thinking or the shitcoin.
Okay.
First one's easy. No inflation.
That sounds very Bitcoin to me.
You have one?
I didn't know we were playing this game, Russell.
Okay, I have more.
Okay, he has more. You can think of one for later.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
Deflation.
I think it's kind of built into Bitcoin just because Bitcoin gets lost over time, so it actually is deflationary.
By the way, there are not necessarily right or wrong answers, so I agree with you. I think some of our guests might not, but I agree with you. I think Bitcoin by nature is deflationary because once you lose your private keys, it's gone.
Yeah, I know for sure that there's like at least 1/8 less Bitcoin than there once was because I lost the first 1/8.
So now talking just large block sizes. That Bitcoin?
Like downtown New York block. Why would you ever want a big block?
Great answer.
Yeah.
My kids have small hands. Like they can't really hold a big block.
Absolutely. So changing protocol layer or building on top of it?
I think you already heard the answer to that earlier. Like, you want to keep it as simple as possible so that people building on layers above don't have to change their code every freaking week.
Absolutely. So now moving towards this idea of proof of work versus, for the game's purpose, working towards something versus holding something.
Or just being granted something.
Yeah.
I guess, in the sense of like blockchains, like being able to prove that there were actual resources expended on something is really the only thing that you can actually trust. And it's really the only fair way to do it. You got to convert effort into money. That's kind of the whole point.
It's energy.
Yeah.
Folks, I think if you've been listening to our latest episodes, I think this is Russell trying to make up for episode 1 when he came off as a bit of a shitcoiner. I approve of everything he's been saying, but why are you like overcompensating here?
I'm not overcompensating.
You're a good Bitcoiner.
Listen,
You're
the most
it.
zealous Bitcoiners are people who briefly dallied in shitcoins.
Sure, we all did.
Yeah. And when I find a purist that never got swayed and never did the horseshoe round trip from like Bitcoin to shitcoin and back to Bitcoin,
I don't trust him.
Yeah, it's like, how do you know?
I'm not supposed to trust anyone, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Just
verify. Yeah.
So Well, then let's go down that rabbit hole. How much of your portfolio is Bitcoin?
You mean like fiat versus Bitcoin?
No. Just like purely, do you hold any shit coins?
No.
Do you have ETH?
Why would I do that?
So Bitcoin only?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Satoshi
But I still
Digital?
have some dollars.
We have to transact.
It's the ultimate shitcoin, but it's
I have the Bitcoin that is called generally BTC or XBT on major exchanges.
Okay. So no BSV or
What's that?
BCH. Oh, those
Bullshit
shit coins.
something?
Those shit coins.
Russell, you
has-
gotta stop saying those 3-letter words on this podcast.
Yeah,
We
that's
can bleep them out.
super confusing.
Please. Oh, let's bleep them out. Savannah, if you're listening to this, bleep those words out. Thank you. Savannah's our lovely editor. I don't know if we're supposed to dox her, but too late.
Sorry, Savannah. Brady blew your OPSEC.
So that's the whole game. It's pretty shitty. We're still working on it.
Yeah. It's okay.
I liked it better when we were doing it with like objects and things, like Suntory whiskey. Is that a Bitcoin or a shitcoin?
That's actually where I thought this was going to go,
Yeah.
and it was going to be like it's like Kylie Jenner more Bitcoin or shitcoin.
Well,
Yeah,
Kylie Jenner.
please.
No, clearly Bitcoin.
All right, I like that.
Yeah.
What about Kanye?
Bitcoin.
Hell yeah, he's Bitcoin.
John Lennon.
Bitcoin.
He's Satoshi. That's who he is.
He actually
Tupac.
might be. Yeah.
Ooh, musicians. I like it as musicians. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Good luck to the game.
And I'm going to have to plead the fifth on that.
Okay.
I can't take a position on Tupac.
Okay.
Read into that what you will.
Maybe
Yeah.
Tupac and Biggie are like lightning and liquid. You know.
Oh, that's an interesting way to take this. Yeah.
Very interesting word.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be Bitcoin shitcoin. It's like what part of the ecosystem does this person represent?
Sure.
I really like that. That requires more whiskey.
Yeah. Well, feel free. We're not stopping you.
I think I'm good. I'm gonna head over to this happy hour in a little bit. So
Cool. So, U.S. stock market, Bitcoin or shitcoin?
shitcoin.
Oof. Japanese stock market.
Shitcoin.
Real
Go
Bitcoin.
ahead, shitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me started on the Chinese stock market.
Yeah, just the same.
My God.
What about Federal Reserve?
I mean, it's printing shitcoins every day.
Yeah.
I don't like that USD coin. I don't trust it.
I don't trust it either.
Which do you trust more, the US dollar or Tether?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Listen, I trust both of them more than die. I think this defense them guys thing that he put out today, just destroyed DeFi, and I haven't even seen anybody like really writing about it yet. But yeah, I mean, those kind of opinions coming out of regulators with the power that FinCEN has, like, yeah, you're not getting away with anything. It's just considered a financial instrument, and the function is what matters. It doesn't matter how you structure it. The function is what matters, and you're sending dollars around, regardless of whether it's algorithm backed. Like, he straight up said it. He called it out. It's in the quote. It's all over the press.
I'll have to read that. That just came out today.
Mhm.
Very good.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Well, alrighty, folks. I think it's time we call it. We're gonna pour ourselves a little more whiskey and then head out to this happy hour.
Tech Salon Monthly.
The Tech Salon Monthly. If you're in the LA area, follow Corey Clipson on Twitter about it. Corey, where can we find you? Where can everyone go? I think we all know by now, but let's say it one more time.
Yeah, sure. So we are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
TikTok?
We're not on TikTok yet, but let's find some like Gen Z kids.
Yeah.
Actually, my
They're
niece
censored
is
by the Chinese government, so if you
TikTok.
Yeah.
So if you have any reservations about that, I wouldn't go.
Use it on a phone that you don't mind having a backdoor into China. Them having a backdoor into you.
Oh, yeah, because it's owned by ByteDance, right?
Yeah.
So they see all your stuff. That's okay. See it. They will red post from government officials.
Yeah, it's a good rabbit hole to go down to take people out of. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is definitely an interesting question that keeps coming up. Like, should Bitcoiners go on shitcoiner shows?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have to express, again, like you're building an evangelism platform.
Yeah.
Right? We have to express to people why we love this and why it's important, and not just when the price is really high.
Absolutely. So I think if it's in good faith, I think the answer is always yes. So if you want to go and talk about it with, Altcoin Daily or, Crypto Beatles or some of these guys who will ask genuine questions and not just use you to promote their thing, then you should absolutely freely go on and evangelize Bitcoin and try to convert their viewers. If you have someone that's, a bad actor and is a total scam artist and is going to essentially use you for their own purposes and kind of do the wrong thing, and this would be like, Hotep Jesus or Richard Hart, like those people are just trash and they're trying to use Bitcoiners for their own ends, and you should not go and associate with those types of people.
Thank you.
Love it.
So I want to say just thank you again for helping usher in this next wave of adoption.
GiveBitcoin.io is live. Go,
Yes.
Try it out. Tell us what you think. There's a feedback link right there on the website. You can also email, it comes straight to my inbox, 21million@givebitcoin.io. Anytime you want to email me, that's fine. And yeah, we're excited to have this out in time for the holidays and see what happens.
Amazing. I know I'm going to be giving Bitcoin.
I love it. All right, now Corey, if you could give some whiskey.io, that would be great.
Whiskey.io on the way.
Maybe we'll start that. I think it.
That's actually not bad. I would do that before give shitcoin.
So whiskey.
I would do
Bitcoin or
shitcoin. Whiskey is very fucking Bitcoin. You haven't figured that out. Look, it's like orange. It's from Japan. Like it's the most Bitcoin that the drink could possibly.
It's from Japan. Yeah, you're right.
This is Satoshi whiskey right here.
Manufactured by the government to keep us placid. No,
Complacent.
That's the whole. Yeah, we should definitely do like a geopolitics episode at some point. I think geopolitics and Bitcoin is like my favorite topic right now.
Okay. Yeah. When we have more time, you're right down the street, right? So
yeah,
let's make it happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.